Noah and Brett, welcome. This is our first filming in our studio for Landlord Confidential. Welcome.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah, we thought it'd be important to have you guys as our first guest since you were actually the builders of this studio. So thank you for that. You want to start by telling the audience about what that was like for you?
It was pretty fun, actually. We had to rip out a weirdly installed stadium seating that was in here.
What was that even?
You should have seen how it was put together. It was about 1 billion nails and from different angles.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty difficult
So
to get
not
out.
the most stable thing to be hanging out
Oh, it
on?
was super stable. You could probably park a truck on it.
Yeah.
Way overbuilt.
So it took a lot more time to demo than you anticipated, probably?
We're pretty good at it, so I mean, we knocked it out. But yeah, once you figure out that there's 53 nails per board, and start cutting stuff up and pulling it out.
Yeah, that's a lot. And you guys came in and did that initial demo for us at night too, right?
Yeah.
Which was awesome, not having to hear all the noise, but not gonna lie, I would have loved to swing a sledgehammer for a little bit.
Well, there's not a whole lot of room to swing, but there was a lot of pillows to throw. You could throw those out.
Yeah, there's probably about 100 pillows. We had to figure out what to do with them.
Who kept them?
We donated them.
Donated
I think
Yeah.
there's
pillows.
3 on my couch.
Nice.
My mother-in-law kept a couple for kids to sit on, and the rest went to the Goodwill or the trash, one of the two.
It's been converted from a useless space to a very useful space now.
Yeah, it came along. It took longer than it should have, but it's
Yeah,
looking
thanks to
good.
the glass being, well, actually it wasn't even the glass, right? It was the metal that was on the
Yeah.
Metal
border.
for the glass, which is ridiculous if you ask me. But
Did they blame it on COVID, the supply chain issues?
no, but
No.
there have been several steel factories that have shut down.
Mm.
Environmental government shutdown kind of stuff, and so the price of everything's gone up, and the availability has gone. It's way down. So
Yeah, I mean, why would we want to produce steel in America? That's
Yeah,
just
right.
blasphemy, right?
because the Chinese make it better.
Chinese steel. All right.
Now it's stuck in Maryland in a port somewhere.
Is it really?
Well, no, they had that bridge collapse, and then they said, this is going to affect shipping across the country.
Logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
I think our steel stud manufacturer said there's only 3 major manufacturers of steel studs, which is every commercial building.
Wow.
So
Yeah, they're actually building them out of wood now. They threw a Wendy's up next to my house out of wood, which I didn't think was a code standard, but
It is.
they're building commercial buildings out of wood now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've not seen that.
Look around, they're everywhere. We drive by all the time going, how does this pass code?
Yeah. Yeah, we love the way this turned out too. You got the wood paneling in the background. So these were actually panels that came together, right? It wasn't just.
Yeah, so these are insulated sound panels. So the actual wood on here, which I didn't even know until we got them, is only a thin veneer. The rest is all soundproof material. It's the first time we've used those, and they're actually really, really, really nice.
Yeah, they're awesome. Love the feel of it in here, and it definitely helps with the noise.
Yeah. The manufacturer is awesome too, because the first batch came damaged, and they shipped us a brand new batch for free,
Oh, that's awesome.
which they should, but
Yeah.
they didn't even ask for the other ones back. They were like,
Keep them.
do what you want with them.
Yeah. Did these come from overseas?
No, these are made here.
California.
California. Okay.
Awesome.
You going to use the ones that you going to use them in your gym, or what are you going to use those for?
We have, so the tops are damaged. Our walls aren't this high, but we haven't decided yet. My wife says I snore a lot, so maybe
Maybe a blockade between.
she has her own
Lower it
room.
down.
She has her own room now, so until I start wearing a mouth guard at night, she won't sleep with me. So
Yeah. So KC Services, you build studios apparently, but you're also one of our go-to general contractors for turns and repair work. Like, what else does KC Services do?
well, we started as a handyman company. My dad in 2006. 18 years
Ken.
later, Ken, yeah.
Worked closely with Ken for a long time. Great guy.
That's the K in KC?
That's Ken. Casey is Ken Carpenter,
Okay. Yep.
so he was very clever with the name.
So you guys took it over so he could disappear into retirement
So
and
he
paint
could
Hot
retire.
Wheels.
He does. He paints a lot of Hot Wheels.
He goes on a lot of trips too.
Does he?
Yeah, he's supposed to do our book still, but doesn't. So, so if we haven't billed you for something or collected it, then I'll get to
It's
it.
coming after eventually.
Thank you, Ken. We appreciate it.
So we started as a handyman, and then we just recently we bought the company from my dad, and he just we just got our KB2 license last week actually.
Congrats.
Yeah,
He took
thank
those
you.
tests, and
That was fun.
And what can you now do in addition that you have that license?
We really can build a house from the ground up. Commercial, we can do. They call it small commercial, but it's $2 million limit. So pretty much anything.
Amazing.
Mm.
yeah.
So are you going to start marketing towards commercial business, or everything you basically refer?
So-
About referrals coming in.
So the term we've learned in the short time that we've owned the company that the term handyman coincides with I want something done very cheap.
Yeah,
Cheap,
of
yeah.
course.
So
yeah.
we made the mistake of we've never advertised as a company until last year. We advertised with My Guy Referral. Give us a discount if you hear this. But they wanted us to advertise as a handyman, and I get calls from little old ladies wanting ceiling fans fixed for $20, and this. So it's not. We want to stay. We will do small repairs,
Yep.
but we want to stay away from the label handyman.
Sure.
So we've started advertising as repair contractor or renovation contractors, and we're actually doing a full-on addition, a huge addition to a house in Desert Hills coming up, like a $200,000 renovation. So
And where did that lead come from?
that's actually a friend of ours from high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So he's
Middle school, actually.
Middle school.
Middle school,
That's
yeah.
where we met.
Oh, awesome.
yeah. We actually went to first grade together, and then I moved, and then I came back in middle school.
So that's how you guys first met, was first grade.
No, we went to the same school.
Oh,
think we
okay.
knew each
You didn't
other.
know each other then. Okay.
Well, we
okay.
became friends. We played baseball on our middle school baseball team in 8th grade.
Okay.
And then high school football, and we've been friends ever since.
Yep.
Yeah.
A long time.
So you guys stayed in touch ever since then, because you were in the military for a while, right? And then.
Yeah, almost 12 years. So I always, my core friend group from high school, we're still, like, we meet up once or twice a year with almost all of them. And we do fantasy football drafts. And
Nice.
so there's a good, like, 12 or 15 of us that are all still friends.
And Brett, what were you doing while this guy was in the military?
Building houses.
Building houses.
Yeah,
Getting the experience.
that, and I was a store manager for Home Depot for a period of time.
Awesome.
So,
So he's like the head manager. He has his own store.
So when did you guys first start working together again? Then I assume you guys started doing some work together before you acquired KC Services.
Yeah, so I got out of the Army in 2014, and I did a small stint in the network communications field, and I hated that. So I don't want anything to do with programming and all that. You know, that's not my deal. I like to build stuff. I like to teach other people how to build stuff.
Yeah.
So I started working with him and his dad for a little while. We could write a.
You guys had your own company at that time, or?
my dad.
Okay.
We could write a comic book about that experience.
Yeah.
Learned a lot.
We learned what to do, what not to do, and how to run a business properly.
Yeah.
Sounds like your dad's a character.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
could be. He's like the Homer Simpson of real people.
Awesome.
So-
He's a genius, but he's
Smartest guy, but
not good with business.
Okay.
Hopefully he doesn't
Odd
watch
decisions.
this.
Can I get his email address?
Yeah, right. Send it to him. So we started doing that, and then I started my own company for a minute because I was working with my dad a little bit, but that's super hard to do. As
Yeah.
a family.
Yeah.
I
So
think
we
I got the
decided-
version from him. He said that you guys are very similar. When you guys are similar, that means a little bit of friction, right?
Yeah. The real world, he's an asshole. I'm an asshole. They don't go well together. No, he's a great guy, but. So I started my own business, and at the time he was trying to get me to come work with him for a long time, and I'm like, no, I don't want to
Was
do
that the
this.
Binzer repair
Yeah.
business? Okay. That's
So
what you were doing at that time.
he started that up with a guy we won't mention,
Okay.
and was begging me to come over there. So I had a meeting with him, and shortly after I started my business, and it made sense for me to go over, and so we were running that together.
Okay.
I saw the writing on the wall almost immediately with the guy that started that company, the owner. And I was like, I'm not going to do this much longer. So I left after about a year and a half.
Was operation just a mess, or what was the writing on the wall?
A lot of false promises.
Mm.
We were supposed to be receiving equity in that company as partners, not as,
Employees.
laborers.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I knew it was never going to happen. So I left. And then he stayed on for about a year longer. And then they had an ordeal.
Yeah.
Falling out sorts.
A little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
And-
I had built the ground up company, so
Mhm.
he brought me in to be the contractor, and I helped him build it and saw what it could be and started to go that direction. It just wasn't working out and wasn't ever going to benefit me in any way. So
It's a bummer.
yeah, I left, and then Ken called me
Yeah.
and asked if we wanted to have a meeting.
I had been planting seeds for a long time.
Of taking over the business.
Yeah, I told him because he's like Was he 65? I think this year.
And he was like doing everything himself, right? Like, because originally he was handyman business, doing everything. I know he's had like some really bad knee problems. I think neck problems too. Right?
Yeah.
I remember him having like he couldn't even get under sinks for a minimum time. He's like, "Don't give me anything on the ceiling. I can't hold my hands up overhead."
Yeah, he was doing 99% of it himself
Yeah.
because he never had ambitions or the desire to have employees. He didn't want to deal with the drama that comes with that. And then he tried it out for a little while, and then I came on with him before that, and before we took the company over. And I think it was about a year I worked with him, and I fired every guy that we hired. They were horrible. They were running around town telling customers that they were, sons of the owners. And, ceiling fixtures were literally falling off the ceiling. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, that's the hardest part of this
Dude.
business is hiring people that know anything about what they're supposed to be doing.
So you'd go in and do like a quality walk afterwards and see that it wasn't there, so you're spending more time like redoing everything.
Yeah, I literally fired a guy one day. We went to the house to go finish the job, me and Ken, and we were talking, and a fixture fell off the ceiling.
Oh
Like a
man.
whole globe, everything fell off the ceiling. I'm like, yeah, this
that's
is
not
why
gonna
I
work.
fired him. But anyways, I had been planting that seed for a while. Like, we need to get Brett over here. I don't see any reason. I told him I don't see any reason why you can't still collect a paycheck and do nothing. You just have to have faith in me.
Right.
And it came to the point, and I told him, I'm like, well, Brett's not at Binzer anymore. The next day, my dad's like, I'm going to give this to you and Brett.
Amazing.
So I'm like, well, what's give mean?
Yeah. How much do you want me to
Nothing's
pay you to
free.
give this to me?
Yeah, so, but we made a deal and purchased the company from him, and we actually have been working almost a year, but we finally, we had to get a license to get everything on our names.
Yeah.
2 days ago? Friday? When was
Yeah,
it?
2 days ago it officially was in our name. So
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Congrats.
Friendship to partnership. What's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
been like?
I think it's good. We are,
nothing changed.
Nothing
People-
changed.
Honestly, it hasn't.
people laugh, like guys that we've trained, other guys that we, work with, they laugh because we fight like brothers. But I don't think we've ever stayed mad at each other
No.
longer than,
Yeah.
an hour and a half.
It's good to have that relationship, right? Like, it means
It
you're
is.
not bearing any resentment. You just immediately say what's on your mind, you address it, you move on.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can talk about anything and yell at each other, say the worst things to each other, and then 2 seconds later hug it out. So,
Yeah.
And we
We have a
balance
similar
each other.
rapport.
Yeah, we balance each other out with our strengths too. So we're both very knowledgeable, and we're both pretty high attention to detail, individuals. So him way more than me, but like I'm pretty OCD and anal
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
way things are done, and he's like a next level. So
What's the vision for the company?
we're going in the right direction right now. So we're trying to get away from that handyman service while still maintaining our relationships and with companies like you guys, our property management companies. We
Mhm.
still are invested in that. The real profitability for us comes on renovation side.
Mhm.
Turns are okay as long as we get in and out quick, but the maintenance side is that's kind of when things are slow, that'll keep your guys paid.
Sure.
But they're not going to make us a profitable company.
Yep.
So the renovations and the new build kind of stuff, you want to, a mother-in-law quarters, or, something like that in your house. And then eventually, I was talking to you about it, I'm probably going to get my real estate license so we can start investing into real estate and having our own properties.
That's great.
That would be the main goal. Anybody that I know that's successful, well, most of them have all made their success in the real estate market.
So
Most of this country's wealth comes from owning real estate.
Absolutely.
So
long term, then you won't be involved too much in the day to day. Like, you want to have a team to run that, or I think, Brett, you want to kind of be the one overseeing
Yeah.
the crews directly.
correct, yeah.
That's where you find the most fulfillment.
Yes. Yeah.
he did one day at the computer for studying for the
Yeah, I
for
can't
contractor's license. He was like,
No, I can't sit at a
he's
desk.
like, I can't do admin.
Yeah.
I have to have hands on doing that kind of stuff.
Out in the
so.
field.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're walking the jobs, working the crews, making
Yep.
sure they're being accountable.
Yep.
And then you're behind the computer.
I like to do both, but yeah, I'm good at managing crews, so the logistics about it. So
Get
like
behind
when you
the
get different phases of a job, you get demo, and then you need your flooring, your baseboard, your painters. So we try not to do all of that ourselves. We have really good relationships with really good subcontractors,
Mhm.
especially things like paint and large scale drywall. These are just things that we're good at, but we don't like to do it. And if I can make money, pay somebody else, they can make money, and the customer's happier, and we get done quicker, then that's the best route to go.
Yeah.
So managing that stuff, I'm pretty good at, and I enjoy it. You know, I do like being in the field sometimes, but you know, the field's grunt work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, you can't stay in the field forever like my dad. I
Right.
told him, it's not a company if you can't leave and it doesn't operate without you.
No. Right.
It's
So-
a job.
You got to
Yeah,
remove
you
yourself.
just
from
have
the
a
day-to-day.
well-paying job.
You mentioned it was hard for him to find reliable people. So what approach are you taking to find great people?
You want to
I
answer that one?
think like you mentioned earlier, the biggest thing is relationships with other vendors.
Mhm.
So we want to be a true contractor and contract work. So,
Yeah.
you know, create a project and then we manage it and then get the right people in, and not so much hire so many internal employees, but have people to go to make sure that we're fulfilling jobs very well, very efficient.
Keeps your overhead low, but also gives you the ability to take on big projects when they come into your lap,
Correct.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
multiple projects
Yeah,
at
multiple.
the same time. So we're not on one phase the whole entire time. We have other people going in.
So things are slower. You're not having to worry about how am I going to get my crew work. I don't have
Right.
anything for them right now.
And then the guys that do work for us or with us closely, we've actually trained those guys from the ground up. The other company that we were running,
Oh, okay.
we
So got them with like no experience and trained them on everything.
most of them, yeah.
Awesome.
Some of those guys have their own GC license now,
Oh, wow.
and so we partner with them. We give them work when we have enough, or you know, when it's mutually beneficial. We got a couple guys that do the general laboring for us.
Yeah.
So when we got a quick, $1,000 turn, that guy's going to go out there and knock it out in a day.
Well, and you're building them up professionally too.
We are, yeah.
That's great.
So
We found it's the best way to do it. 'cause
So you're
you
going to bring good people on, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and then you have people that have an experience, and it's not the same quality that we like, and then
Yeah.
trying to retrain them is very hard.
So it's like they're going to leave long term because they have bigger ambitions, but that's fine. Like that you can have great quality of service while they're there, and then
Right.
working on finding new people
Right.
to replace.
It's
before
kind
they
of both of our leadership styles, a servant leadership. We want to be successful, but we want you to be successful as well.
Mhm.
Here, we're going to teach you the tools to do that, and hopefully, you're loyal to us. If you are good enough at it that
Yeah.
you can start your own company, then more power to you. You need to take care of your family and your needs as well. So, building people up is I think sometimes more rewarding than just being successful at getting jobs done.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
We take the same approach. Like you've got to build your people up, and again, like they may leave long term, go on to better opportunities if you don't have any for them at that time. But that's fine.
And all our guys know if we're slow, you're a 1099 contractor. I encourage you to go out and look for jobs. We got a guy who has his own dump trailer and his own rig, and he had his own company, but he doesn't know how to run a company, and he doesn't have the ambition to do it. And we got him to fix his truck up and his dump trailer, and we said, hey, we'll do the work part for you. And so when we're slow here, you can go do trash outs. We'll do the advertising. You give us a little bit, you go out and you make the rest on your own.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you got a great approach to production and the construction part of it. But how are you making the phone ring? You mentioned you built up the Binzer business. Like, what's your strategy to build your clientele for KC Services?
A lot of our clientele has already been built up, long-lasting relationships, like with you guys.
Yeah.
We started to work with you guys. I mean, 2006, my dad was doing, just because he had a sticker on the side of his van,
Mm-hmm.
he got in with Barrett Eastman
Very spend the time.
Yeah.
at the time. And we've made the transition with every buyout from that company, and everybody who's left that company has brought us along with them too.
Yeah.
Again,
So-
goes to the quality of work, right? Like you find
Right.
this vendor, like, oh my gosh, these are doing great. So like you leave a company, like I know who I'm gonna call to come over here.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to have hard conversations like, hey, I think pricing's too high, and I say, hey, this is why pricing isn't too high, and then we come to an agreement, and it has to be mutually beneficial for everybody. But
Yeah.
those long-lasting relationships have sustained us in the niche that we're in now,
Mm-hmm.
and they've also helped us grow in expanding to the future path forward to doing the larger scale stuff. We started doing property management turns, and then the property management company started doing renovations during COVID.
Yep.
Investor bought properties, and they went in heavy on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's when we got into the renovation side. We built those relationships, and then when people leave or people refer us to other people, kind of just compounds. And then when that bottom fell out of that market, and the interest rates went up, people started looking for, hey, I can't move, I can't sell my house, I want to upgrade my house.
Yep.
I'm going to stay here forever because I have a 3% interest rate,
Right.
and they're 7% now. So now they call us on the private party side to come in and do new kitchens, new bathrooms, full on room additions.
Yeah, additions.
So it's been good having the experience and the relationships, and then we also started advertising a little bit.
Yeah.
So we have 2 different avenues we advertise in. One of those has to go away because we can't be grandma's handyman. I mean, I have a hard time telling a little old lady that, sorry, I'm going to have to charge you $75 just to come out to
Just
change
not
that light
worth my
bulb
time,
plus
yeah.
the light bulb.
Right.
And it, at the end of the day, if it pays our guys day and labor, then, that's about it.
So what chunk of your business now is coming from property management versus individual homeowners?
I'd say it's probably 50-50.
50-50 split.
Where when we took over, it was probably 90-10. So we've slowly been transitioning that over to new types of resources coming to work. That was part of the reason why it was so easy to come into this company, though, is because what Ken built.
Right.
I mean, we had those relationships coming in.
Yeah, phone just
It was
rings.
super nice.
Oh.
So how do you, like, that sounds challenging to me if you have multiple property management companies sending you work, you've got new owners like wanting to come in and do renovations, like how do you prioritize? How do you decide what you're going to attack first and what work's going to get scheduled first and how to keep that all in line, right? Because you're running multiple trades, one person's delayed, you got to reschedule everybody thereafter.
Our contractors are really good. Normally we still do 90% of the work.
Like you two personally?
Yeah.
A lot of it, yeah, and which just makes it hard to do the admin side. But
Yeah.
we've been lucky to where, I don't know if it's even lucky, property management has slowed down for us. It's not that we're declining or any work. A lot of companies are trying to go internal. Some of the bigger companies, they're not being very successful at it. They're trying to stomp out fires and use us to try to make a new business model on their end. Which we'll jump through those hoops because we still have those relationships. But that market has gone down quite a bit. A lot of people I don't know if people aren't moving out as much. You guys could be the answer on that question. But we're not getting as much work from that side as we used to. And it's been kind of nice because, we're more profitable on the other side of the fence. But we do prioritize our property management companies. Like we'll prioritize your guys' work first. Because we know we want to maintain this relationship. We want to help you guys grow. You guys are helping us grow. So that's a mutually beneficial relationship. Some of the other property management companies are more of a headache to work with than they're really worth.
Mm-hmm.
We keep them because it keeps people paid. But I don't prioritize them anymore. And the vendor managers know it. But for the bigger companies that have vendor managers,
Yeah.
it's like, you're not my priority when it takes pulling a tooth to get an answer
Yeah.
for anything. We'll get to it when we're available.
And then to get payment at the end when the work's done,
Yeah.
too. It's like, you guys
Yeah.
gonna pay me for this? Yeah, I know that was a big reason why we left previous companies and launched Home Ladders. We saw that shift of these bigger companies bringing maintenance in-house, and when you bring maintenance in-house, my personal experience is seeing the quality of work dip and the price increase, and that's not a service to the owners. We definitely believe in leveraging third-party vendors like yourselves. Like, you're competing against each other for pricing and quality of work, and then we don't have to worry about making margins. Like, I remember watching those, like, there's a discussion every quarter, like, we've lost money again. How do we make money in this program? Like, I don't want to do that. I want you guys to figure out.
Yeah. I volunteered for one company to go out and scope all their houses for free, just to show them how poorly that their in-house people were scoping them.
Missing a bunch.
Yeah, because we treat every property like it's our own. We're going to give you an option to fix everything that we think should be fixed. You're going to get an estimate from us that looks like a menu at a restaurant. You want to add sour cream at the restaurant, there's your charge. You want to replace an angle stop that may not be leaking but will as soon as you touch it, we're gonna quote that for you. But these other guys, they go in and whatever's the most obvious, that's what they see, and they miss so much other stuff.
Okay, cosmetic, but not like testing plumbing,
Right.
electrical,
Yeah.
and making sure everything functions. So walk us through that process. Like, if you're walking into, I send you a work order, like, hey, please provide me a turn scope. This property's in rough shape, right? We just had a tenant vacate. Like, how do you walk through the property?
Typically outside in, so we want to first look at the landscape. Is it going to be appealing to somebody wanting to rent the house, buy the house? And then you go on the inside, and then you do open the door and look at it from a cosmetic view. and then you start digging into the plumbing, to the electrical, to the things that matter for somebody renting. If they're living there, is it going to be everything operational? So we go and test fixtures, outlets, GFIs, all that. Make sure that everything's functional for somebody moving in.
And are you usually doing it in like a linear fashion where you're going room by room and catching everything? Or are you going room by room looking for specific things each? Or
Yeah, we kind of split up.
Yeah.
And then we meet in the middle.
Okay.
So yeah, we
That's
we
good
kind
then,
of,
two brains.
yeah.
Catch more.
It's better. We found that it's better to walk a property together for that reason, because even though you know what you're looking for, it's easy to miss something.
Yeah.
So you walk into a room and not notice that the corner of the blind is broken, and then the other person will go in and, oh yeah, we have a blind in here too.
Especially if you're walking a house that was an eviction and there's just junk everywhere.
Yeah.
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 Or they're full of cockroaches.
So do you walk the property and you just know all the prices that your subs are going to charge you, or how often do you have to have the subs come through and walk as well, so that you can give a final or an estimated price to the property manager?
Most of our prices I already know what my painter's going to charge. I already know what our flooring guy, if we're not doing the flooring ourselves, what a flooring guy is going to charge. Sometimes if we need counters and stuff like that, I'll get them in there to give a quote. I generally have an idea. So I created a spreadsheet to where if I know the price of something and how much labor is going to cost, I just input it and it does taxes and what profit margins we want, and it gives me a price at the end. So we typically generate all our prices that way. So when we go into our program that we use to generate our estimates, we just click, type in some verbiage, because sometimes the verbiage is specific to a house. But I know that my painter is going to be this price for an interior, he's going to be this price for an exterior. So I can quote paint without even calling him. Mm-hmm. And I know how long it's going to take him, and he'll prioritize work for us because he likes us. Like, he calls me probably 3 times a month. When can we go get a beer together?
Nice.
And he does commercial paint. He does a lot of paint.
Yeah.
But he'll prioritize stuff for us because we have a great relationship. And we met him on a job site one day. That's how I meet other contractors. Plumbers, I can call a plumber and tell him situation. If we need to do like a main drain or something, he'll give me a price on the phone.
Just over the phone, nice.
Yeah. So for the most part, though, we know what they're going to charge.
Yeah.
The things we need estimates on that take the longest, carpet. I can't find a reliable carpet guy. We use some of the bigger companies to get them out there to replace the carpet. It seems like the price is different every job.
Yeah.
So it's like I got to wait on a carpet guy.
Yeah.
I've tried 4 or 5 of them out. If somebody wants new tile on a house, nobody wants to do tile anymore. Everybody wants to do click-clock because it goes in real quick, or that cheap glue down stuff.
And a lot of times they do with demo, you just go right over the top of the tile.
Right, yeah. So those are the things that hold us back a little bit, but for the most part.
Glass, gotta have them come out for glass.
Normally our glass is pretty quick, and this company is probably one of the best companies in the valley for glass, and their customer service is great. But I blame Joe Biden. The economy sucks. They couldn't get metal. So thanks a lot,
Uncle
Grandpa Joe.
Yeah.
No, and I think I love most about working with you, like you said, is the fact that we can just have a conversation, right? I feel like a lot of times with vendors, you find yourself going back and forth or email, or you can't reach them, right? Like, you want something done, and it's like you call, you email, and you're not getting anything back. I know I can call you, and we can just have a conversation, and we're gonna, even if it's a tough conversation or something bad, like you're always willing to meet at a job site, do a walk, have a conversation, and come to a mutual agreement, right? We have mutual goals in mind. You succeed, we succeed.
Right. I think communication is the key to everything. In the Army, communication and backwards planning, that's how you get mission success. You can't communicate, then everything goes to hell. Sometimes I over-communicate. Sometimes I call for things that maybe should be an email, but I want an answer now, and I want you to know the situation.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can over-communicate in what we do, especially if you're trying to do something fast.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest delay is communication. If I'm on a job site and I can't get in, and you don't answer your phone, I just wasted a trip.
Yeah.
And now you're going to get a delayed estimate from me.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's our priority, right? Like, if a property's vacant and you guys are out there, like, we've got to do everything in our power to get that thing occupied as quickly as possible. And that means getting an estimate back, getting it approved, getting that work done.
Yeah.
You guys provide a huge service for us.
Yeah, and we enjoy doing it. And we offer services too that, like our cleans, we don't really make money on a clean, but we offer it to expedite that process.
Right.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to go cheaper route and they get a cleaner cheaper than us and I don't have to manage that, more power to you.
Look at the cost of vacancy though, right? Like every day
Yeah,
a property
every
sitting
day.
vacant, it's probably going to be the
Yeah.
difference in that cleaning
'Cause
charge.
my cleaner will do it in at least the next 2 days. I don't know when can yours get out there, and is it going to be clean? You're going to call them back.
Yeah.
So
How many times do I have to come back out there to re-wipe things down?
yeah,
Because most cleaners are missing, of course, inside drawers, some baseboard type stuff. So yeah, if you have a good cleaner,
yeah,
that's the funny thing though. Most owners think that a cleaning should cost like $200, no matter how rough the home's in, right? It's like,
Can't
good
find
luck.
it.
If you can find somebody to go in and do a quality clean for that
Mhm.
price,
Yeah.
please send me their information.
send it to
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
too.
Send it.
'Cause I want it.
I want
wanna
to
meet up.
I'll give them a lot of work.
And we've
Yeah.
had those $200 cleaners, and then you go back because it's filthy.
Yeah, you're like, so
And-
did you
Yeah.
guys clean
Yeah.
or?
And our good cleaners know that, and they've risen their prices. Everything costs more money. Gas, insurance. It's not cheap to run a business. So I always have to bite my tongue a little bit when someone says, "Hey, your prices are too high." Well, let me tell you why they're higher.
Yeah.
We've bought a water heater last month, and it's gone up 30% since last month. I can't do a water heater for this price anymore.
Right.
My cleaner, their time's money. They want to make a decent wage. They're paying for gas and materials to get out to your house and clean it. And while you might have walked it and said, this looks pretty clean, when we come through there and we see, floors are dirtier, the baseboards all have to be wiped down. There's, 600 linear feet of baseboard in this house. How long does that take someone on their knees to clean?
Yeah.
So, they want to get paid for it. And I want them to get paid for it and want to do jobs for us and prioritize our jobs.
Yeah, and come back. Yeah.
Yeah, so we submit our estimate with what they need to make, and if we get it, then they're happy and we're happy and get your guys' job done quicker.
Yep.
But sometimes it's not the case.
Yeah. So from the construction industry, we're dealing with supply chain issues. We're dealing with the offshoring of manufacturing of material products to other countries and the delays that causes. We're also dealing with labor shortages with just the younger generations not getting involved in trades, right? So what headwinds are you seeing out there, and what's your strategy to combat both of those things?
Well, we have multiple resources. So even though manufacturers may be hard to find metal,
Yeah.
there are other resources. And then also with our partners in the trade, we can talk to people that know ways to get material or ways around another way to do the project. So
Back to the relationships.
yes,
Yeah.
it's huge. It's one of the biggest things we deal with every day. So we make phone calls all day long to other vendors and find out what's working, what's not working, and what's new, and how can we make things better. So
Yeah.
I think the biggest part of that is the relationships. And even with our vendors, we'll call some of our vendors and ask them, and then they'll send us to another resource. So,
And you guys both have kids. You just mentioned you got a freshman in high school. Sounds like he needs to be coming to work for you pretty soon.
he actually has been helping me, and he's
Alright.
learning a little bit of the trade. So my dad owns some property out in Wickenburg and building a theme park, believe it or not.
In Wickenburg?
In Wickenburg.
He's trying anyway.
Yes, dealing with some county issues. But, my son has been out there quite a few times, actually framing walls and doing electrical, learning the trade. So that's been fun.
Theme park coming to Wickenburg. Can you tell
We'll
us
see.
any details?
We'll
Is
see.
there a name?
It will be World of Music. when
World of
it's
Music,
done. Right
okay.
now, it's Gold Mine Experience. So it's actually
It's
on a
pretty
bunch of
neat.
mining property, and that's as much as he can do at the time because of legal county issues.
So he is open now in a sense. Just
Not really. I
No,
mean, you
okay.
can go out there.
You can go out there and you can tour mine for free, donate some money if you want.
okay.
I tell you what, if you like rocks and being out in the desert and looking at cool stuff and being in mines with, 150-year-old timbers holding up the mountain, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Then go out there.
Yeah, it's a good time.
You can go metal detect, let you metal detect all over the property. You can find old railroad ties and maybe if you're lucky, some gold. Some people have found some gold out there.
Some gold.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
neat.
there for sure.
It's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
Sounds like it's worth the trip.
Yeah. But the relationship side is definitely the key. And then managing, so if we don't respond to an email right away, it's because we're also
Yeah,
doing,
you're
we're
out in the
also
field
in the
doing
field.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, so
You're
managing
demoing
all
some
that
stairs.
and doing the physical labor because we still need to make sure it gets done right. And if somebody doesn't have a job right now, it's probably because they're not worth anything. So we're not trying to hire anybody right now.
Eventually, we'll get out of the field.
Yeah. So long
It
term.
was a 5-year plan, basically. We're 1 year in, and I think we've moved a lot quicker than we expected, honestly.
So pulling out of the field more and more and
Yeah.
having teams that you can rely on.
What
Yeah.
sort of technology are you using in your day-to-day?
So instead of stapling invoices and estimates and filing them, and if we pay for a subscription service for all our estimates, it sends customers in the private party anyways. I can send them an update. We're on our way. We have a price list that's generated through that program, and everything goes
Jobber?
through. It's all Jobber, yeah.
Jobber, yeah.
That program's been great. We haven't really. I don't know how much technology could help us. I'm not the most technically savvy when it comes to like social media and stuff like that. I kind of have a great disdain for it. So we don't have anybody doing social media stuff for us, but we haven't had that need yet. So we're about to start a project. We got 5 units that we're about to remodel for a large facility that does elderly care. They have 45 available. The average cost for that renovation is $18,000. We have 5 starting. We're going to walk them on Friday. Those are already approved. So that's $90,000 worth of revenue that's going to come in the next probably month and a half. We should be able to finish those 5. If we get the other 45, that's $880,000 for that. So like normal, last year I think we did just under $600,000 in business with basically 3 people. If everything falls into place like it's supposed to, we'll do well over $1 million in business. So, and that's based off relationships.
Yeah.
Somebody made a phone call to their boss that knows him and his wife, and that lady, said, "Hey, we're looking for vendors," and we had back and forth with them doing different estimates, and she said, "All right, I want to give you guys these jobs."
That's impressive.
So-
And what was the best year that Ken had before you guys came on board? Do you know?
550 or something like that.
You beat him in year 1.
First
We
year.
did.
It's gotta feel
We
great.
beat him by what did we do?
Yeah, but he was doing the old file system. He wasn't doing it.
Yeah, he probably
He
is
actually,
missing
the
money.
first thing he asked me was, "Do you want my file cabinet?" And he has all the paperwork. I'm like, "I'm good. I don't need any of that."
He still asks me for physical copies of stuff. I'm like, we have pictures attached to the work orders. Like, you need to be saving all this. I'm like, no, I don't.
don't.
Come on, nobody's asking
Cloud.
for it. Who's asking me for it? Nobody. Like, what are the bank statements? Everything's there.
Just go back to painting your high rails, man.
Yeah. I mean, we do offer like Zelle payments and credit card stuff like that. That's some technology that we offer people. With that comes a fee that most people don't want to pay.
Yeah.
And then if we start getting into the big stuff, then we'll offer financing. His stepdad is a program manager for one of the big credit card lenders, and he's been trying to get us to offer financing. I have a hard time charging someone 25% for a room addition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a credit card? Maybe you should use that.
Yeah.
Does Jobber handle your dispatching and scheduling to your communication, like especially with us,
It
with
does.
scheduling with the tenants? Like you use that to communicate with the tenant and get it scheduled?
No. So a lot of companies like you guys have your own portals, so we got to go into your portal. We got our stuff. Ours will dispatch to our technicians. I can send a text message I don't do it for property management tenants. I don't send them a reminder text, hey, text en route, because they know the appointment's going to be between this time and this time.
Yeah.
But we have the availability to contact the customer, say, hey, my technician can go on his phone and say, hey, we're running 15 minutes behind,
Yeah.
or hey, just a reminder, I'm on my way. I should be here between this. We have that capability. We don't really need it right now.
Yeah.
But as soon as we put it, anything gets tracked from a request. So you could send me you can go on our website, click a link on there to submit an estimate request. It sends it right to Jobber. It alerts me on my phone, shows me all the information you submitted. If I have enough of information based on what you just emailed me, I can send you an estimate right from the request. You can click on it and ask for revisions, or you can send it back approved. It has a signature on it. As soon as it comes back, I can turn it into a job, schedule it, let the tenant know. So it does streamline that process. It's not very effective for property management, stuff like that, because we're working with, leasing
their
agents
systems,
or different proprietary programs.
Yeah.
So Jobber is an amazing program. Costs us a little bit of money to use it every year, but it's well worth it.
Yeah.
And you can expand that if we ever got to the point where we were running crews like George Brazil or something, then, we could expand that and dispatch everybody from there. It'll track routes. It'll give you route planning, all that stuff.
Wow.
Nice.
So not
Long-term.
necessarily needed yet, but
Yeah.
we do have it.
Well, it's been great chatting, getting to know you guys, and learning about the origin stories of KC Services. If people want to get in touch with you, how can they reach out to you?
They can go to veteranhomerepair.com, send us an estimate request. They can give us a phone call, either one of our phone numbers. What's your? You want to give me your phone number?
602-900-7915.
And mine's 600-900-7872. I probably won't answer it because whoever had that phone before me didn't pay their credit card bills.
Oh boy.
And they have a lot of them. So that phone gets blown up. Unfortunately, it's on all of our business cards already. So.
And people won't find you on social media.
So, I think we have a Facebook page that my brother's wife started a long time ago. She's about as committed to that as she is anything. So she doesn't run that anymore. My brother's not a part of the company anymore.
Yeah.
So, and it's locked and nobody knows how to unlock it. So no, we don't have a
Go
social
do that.
media. But you can find us
Great.
through our website or Google us.
Great. No, Brett, great chatting with you guys today.
You as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.